y'all, I'm a little freaked out right now. So I'm sitting here on the couch about to put a movie on, okay? My daughter is standing in the hallway and she looks in the kitchen, then me and her make eye contact, then she looks in the kitchen again. And I said, what? She tells me that she sees a black guy in the kitchen. The thing that comes to mind is stand up and go see what's in the kitchen, because why are you saying you see a black guy in the kitchen when the only people that are home right now are me and my 3 babies, okay? My husband is at work. I said, what black guy? But as I'm saying, what black guy? I'm getting up to go walk into the kitchen, right? I walk in the kitchen. I walk towards the basement. Nobody in there, right? Walk out the kitchen. And I said, Mama, what are you talking about? And she starts like describing what she saw. Like she points out the height of it, and it wasn't that much taller than her. She says it's black. It has big red eyes. The mouth is open. And it has big black hands. So immediately after she says that, I become genuinely curious. I'm like, okay, is this like her making up stuff in her imagination? Because we all know kids have an amazing imagination, okay? So I'm asking her questions like, where'd you see that? She points and says she saw it right next to the refrigerator. Okay, so where she was standing at in the hallway from where she pointed, where she saw it at the refrigerator, they would be standing like right across from each other, right? So I go in the kitchen, I take a look around again, just basically letting her know like, okay, mommy is looking around, mommy's not scared, like there's nothing to be scared of. I let her know that I don't see nothing in there. She's still talking about it. So I tell her, I'm like, okay, we're not going to talk about it no more. And I immediately start praying over the house. And I tell whatever this thing is, it's not welcome here. We're protected and we're covered by the blood of Jesus Christ himself. This is not that type of household, okay? This is really not that type of household. I don't do that scary shit. I don't do the ghost shit. I don't do the entity, the demon shit. I don't do none of that, okay? So after I do that, and I'm feeling better because I prayed, and I've told this thing that it's not welcome here. Even if it's just a part of her imagination, I feel better knowing that I did that. And then it shows her that, okay, mommy is not scared. Like, mommy is praying over the house. Like, I'm protected. Everything is safe. Everything is good. Here, sit down, and I'm finna scroll and find a movie like I was doing before. She comes back into the living room, and she says, Mom, I don't think that thing is leaving. And I said, why did you say that? And she said, because when I was helping Gio's my son, she was like, when I was helping Gio get his fruit snacks out the pantry, he was standing there again. I don't think he left. Really, as she says that, I stand up because that's my first reaction, to go in there, look again, pray again. But then I'm getting like my hair on my freaking arms start standing up. Like it's like everything, like I'm getting chills, like my heart is starting to race. I'm like, bro, what is going on? Like, it's to the point where I'm starting to feel uncomfortable, but I can't let her know that I feel uncomfortable, right? I'm like, okay, Mama, show me where you saw him again. Like, show me where you saw him the second time. And she shows me, and apparently this time he was standing next to the basement, like the stairs to get to the basement. So I'm like, okay. And at this point, my curiosity is at an all-time high, okay? Like, I'm curious. I want to know everything. Like, so I start asking her questions. I'm like, describe him to me again. Where do you see him at? Do you see him when mommy and daddy are sleeping? Because she says it's a guy. So I'm like, do you see him when mommy and daddy are sleeping? Does he talk? Like, I need to know everything. She says he doesn't talk. Okay? So a couple minutes go by and I ask her again. I'm like, does he talk to you? Like, does he say anything to you? She said, Mom, I already told you, he doesn't talk. Then I asked her, like, have you ever seen this thing, like, in videos, movies, like something? Have you ever seen it, like, in front of you, like in a video, a movie, like something? Because then if she tells me that she's seen it in like a video or a movie, then I know that it's like, it's not here, She tells me she's never seen it in a video or movie. I promise y'all, I've asked her that question like 6 times because I thought it would make me feel better, but every single time she says no, she hasn't. She only sees it here. Time goes on, and I'm just sitting there thinking about like, what other questions can I ask her so I can have more of the answers that I'm trying to get. My daughter is a little yapper, okay? She loves to come into the living room. She loves to just start random conversations. So I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like actively thinking about it, but I'm also trying to find a movie again, like I've been trying to do since the beginning of this. She comes in here, she's standing by the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree is right here. And she's just like going on and on and on. She's talking about Santa, and then she starts talking about how there's like a black and red present. As soon as she says black and red, I'm automatically tuned in because the thing that she described was black and red. So I'm like, okay, let me listen, because if she's talking, like she's not talking to me. She's just like talking, like just yapping, like just letting her, like just talking, So I'm just like listening. We're like, okay, I want this to be an active conversation. I want to have a conversation with her. So I join in on a conversation. Out of nowhere, she's like, Mom, do you remember our old place? And I said, yeah. And she said, I like that place better because it's not haunted. Like, do you think this place is haunted? And she was like, it is haunted. And I was like, I'm also going to be telling my husband about this when he gets home because I am genuinely freaked out. Like goosebumps, chills, heart racing. Like I'm not going to be calm until I tell him, until I get the answers I want, because this is the first time she's ever brought this to me. I'm freaked out, to say the least, okay?
Let's talk about something terrifying. So if you've seen a lot of my videos, and you know that this is very unusual for me to be filming from my bed. And before I get into my own personal experience that happened a couple nights ago, I just need to know if anyone else has experienced waking up in the middle of the night right before something weird happens. I don't know how else to explain it other than I woke up knowing that something was wrong or something was going to happen. And I was trying to calm myself down because I have terrible anxiety and I do not sleep very well, period. So I thought I was having a panic attack and tried to get myself to go back to sleep. I consistently have my TV running because I do not like silence. I do not like the dark. I like hearing noise because it makes me feel like I'm not by myself. Anyways, I'm trying to get myself to go back to sleep and I just cannot fall back asleep. I'm like wide awake at 3:40 in the morning. And I have these vinyl records like hanging up in my room. They've been there for around 2.5, 3 years. And I've never had this issue before. So as I'm easing myself back into sleep and like trying to convince myself that there's nothing wrong and I just like woke up for no reason, one of my vinyls falls off the wall. So I'm sitting there thinking like, that's really weird. Maybe it's all the fans going on in my room because I have like 3 fans during the summertime. And I'm still trying to get myself to go to sleep. Probably 15-20 minutes later, the freaking shelf that my vinyl was sitting on comes off the wall. Now, mind you, all of these little shelves are secured in the wall. Every single one of them has their own screws and anchors into the wall. And I don't know what it was. In that moment, I knew that I was awake for that reason. I don't know what it was. That's why I'm asking if people have had experiences like this that they just cannot explain. And this is also not the first time where I have woken up right before something weird happens or like something coincidental happens. And if you've been here a long time, then you know exactly what I'm about to say. I do not believe in coincidences like that. Take that as you will, but I do not believe in coincidences. But yeah, if anyone has experiences with stuff like that happening, please let me know, because I tried telling other people about it and a lot of people were like, that's really weird.
Make sure y'all grab y'all popcorn, y'all snacks, y'all blankets, because I got another story time from my mama. So this was back when my brother was 1 years old at the time. My first youngest brother. So at this time, the only kids that my mom had was me and him. But later on, she eventually did have 2 more kids, another boy and another girl. So it was one night that she had put us to sleep, and she was drinking and smoking with my dad's friends and her friends. Mind you, they're outside of the apartment. So my mom's chilling, and she feels like her baby is crying. So she's asking everybody, like, do y'all hear a baby crying? And everybody's like, no, like, we don't hear no baby crying. Like, you bugging out. They kept saying, like, she was bugging. And she's like, nah, I literally feel like my baby is crying. So I'm going to be back. I'm going to go check on him. So she goes to the stairs. But when she gets to the middle of the steps to go into the apartment, she hears my baby brother crying like hysterical. Like somebody is pinching the hell out of him. So she goes in the room and she's checking on him. And he's just looking up at the ceiling and he's crying. And he's crying like so many tears is down his face. He's fussing around. At this time, he still wasn't walking and he couldn't talk at this time. So he was just like fussing too much to her liking. So he's just looking at the ceiling. And my mom is looking at the ceiling, but she don't see nothing. But the room is dark, but she had the door open. So, like, whatever light was outside of the room was coming in. But she still wasn't seeing nothing. So, she picks up my baby brother from the bed that he was laying in. And she goes into the living room with him. Mind you, I'm still asleep. So, he's looking up at the ceiling like he sees something following him and my mom. And he's crying more and more and more. Like he's so terrified at whatever is in that room on the ceiling. And now his head starts following whatever was in the ceiling in the room. It came into the living room with him. And my mom said it took her about 2 hours, like not even dragging it. It took her 2 hours to put the baby to sleep because it was hard to get him to stop crying, and he kept looking at the ceiling and pointing at it. And she said from that day on, my brother always said that he seen something in that apartment. Even not in that apartment, like still he says that he sees things. So if y'all want more stories from my mom, just let me know.